What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Otaku Octagon podcast. I'm your host, Maui. I'm joined by my co-host, David. Happy Independence Day Eve. So this episode, we're actually going to be talking about some of our favorite independence animes, our fight the power animes, right? So those animes that they're fighting the oppressors while I'm wearing my Fire Nation oppressive jersey here. But yeah, so please go on YouTube. If you are an audio listener, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let us know how you feel about the episodes. Give us some reviews. I mean, let us know how you feel. But other than that, enjoy the rest of this episode. What's up, man? Happy Independence Day Eve.
Happy 4th, brother. How you been?
I'm good. Just trying to, I've been working on the game room a little bit, trying to add bookshelves. And we were talking about me kind of trying to change my background up a little bit. So, because I got the casting couch here in the back. And
No, I understand. I've been working on the room as well. Not really what's necessarily right here behind me. I do want to get more One Piece books, of course. Yeah. But I've been working on my wife's side of the game room. Like maybe one day I'll do a quick run through. I don't want to show too much of her side, just a little private. But she has started putting up. Remember I said how I had all my posters and the stuff, anime stuff I had in my man cave that lasted about 2 months. Well, we just finally decided we're going to take all those out and we're just going to make our whole office, my podcasting side and her PC side, we're just going to make that the whole anime thing. So we actually moved all those posters, all those figures. We moved them all out. There's probably like 5 things left, but all the anime stuff is out. So we still got the Marvel.
I think we're going to have to do a blog on YouTube or like a short video of like kind of touring our game rooms. Or touring our man caves and showing like our figures, our shelves, like kind of what our setup is and stuff like that. Because I know I added a bookshelf the other day. It's kind of mixed with like Star Wars Legos and anime figures. Because my big thing was I didn't want to get more figures without having a place to put them. Mm-hmm. So I started putting my money into like bookshelves and shelves to have them. But now I have like sorely lacking anime figures, and now Legos are kind of like intruding on that. But I might put a bookshelf behind me with some figures on it when I start actually buying figures. I'm trying to get into the Fire Force ones, but those things are fucking $200 some fucking dollars. So
went through Amazon and looked at a couple of those figures.
Yeah, it's like what's his name? Hanma, the dude from Fire Force Company 7 that lives in that village with the cross eye and the circle eye. His figure is $204.
I bet badass.
Yeah, it's fucking dope. He's like sitting on the broom with the fire coming on him, and he's like, just fucking. But it's pretty cool. But yeah,
maybe you need to drop a couple hundos on it.
Hey, I got the money coming in.
Anybody wants to donate a couple hundreds to the, this is for the podcast.
The Department of Veteran Affairs is going to be sponsoring me on that. I could write it off as a tax write-off. It's my, it's one of my jobs, I guess.
I feel you. When it comes to anime this week, though, it's kind of been like a dry week. As you already know, a lot of last season's anime, they ended. This week has been kind of like a small break. But next week, all the animes are about to start popping off. All the ones we brought up last week, about the ones we're looking forward to at least, they're all starting next week.
So I've actually been watching some things this past week. So there's a new show called Bastard that came out on Netflix. I don't know if you've like seen it or if you.
Yeah, I've noticed it. You messaged me about it, and I said, let me see it. And I read the synopsis or whatever.
It's pretty fucking funny. I mean, so the whole thing is, so I would say it's pretty corny. It is a corny anime, but so the whole premise is the MC or the main character of it is like this demon king. And it's funny because to me, it seems like they didn't put enough effort into this, but he died. You know how normally they died like 300, 400, 500 years ago, and then they reincarnate. Well, this guy died 15 years ago. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. But he ended up getting reincarnated or sealed away into this 10-year-old or this baby who was like this 10-year-old boy, and the only way his powers can manifest or he can come out of the guy, like the kid's body, right, like turn into his demon form, is if he's kissed by a virgin. But it's really
high school DxD-ish.
I mean, and this show is kind of ecchi, and it's funny because they actually break the fourth wall a lot in this anime. He's like a super big pervert. I mean, he's like Jiraiya Sensei of perverts, and he actually puts his hands on these girls, right? And he like seduces them and grabs them and does all these like all kinds of nonsense. Well, he started doing that to
Wait
this
a
one girl.
minute.
Yeah.
What did he do to him?
He started doing this shit to this one girl, and the dragon that like talks, it's like this tiny dragon that talks, which there's something about him, there's a secret, but I already figured it out. But y'all are gonna have to watch it to see it. But the dragon's like, "What are you doing? This is a shonen manga." And like, it was like, I was like, "Wait, what? What did he just say?" And then he's like, then he's talking to the one girl who's like, he says is gonna have his babies, the one that raised the other version of him, the 10-year-old boy him, that he's in love with her. He was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to beat this guy," like kind of fucking around. And she was like, "You're the main character. You could definitely beat him." Like,
is he like super snarky? Like
yeah, so he thinks he thinks he's the sexiest thing in the world. He tells people he doesn't give a fuck about them. Like they're just like, "Oh, thank you for defeating the enemy. Can you please go defeat the army on our west gate?" And he's like, "I just wanted to fight that guy. I don't give a fuck about your castle. Like I don't fucking care about you."
So then,
but then the girl that raised the other 10-year-old version of him will grab his ear and be like, "You're gonna go fight him," and he's like, "Yes, ma'am." Like he's actually like afraid of her. Because like he still has the emotions of that other. He's the same. It's two individuals living within the same body and the same soul. So he has the emotions of the 10-year-old boy who loves his like older sister figure. So he, as his older self, he's called Dark Schneider. His older Dark Schneider self still has those feelings for that girl. So whenever she yells at him, hits Sakura, punches him upside the head, he's like, "Oh my God, yes, ma'am," and but then he's pretty much fighting. The whole show is pretty much about like the dark goblins fighting against the humans, like any other fairy tale anime. And he is fighting against them because he's told to by that girl, but because he thinks it's fun. And every single one of the generals of that other military and the leader were all his disciples 15 years ago. So he's like, he was in charge of them. He came back. Now he's fighting for the night side. And then as he's fighting them and like, he's like winning them over every time he fights them. Because he's not like the mean demon king that they remember from 15 years ago. He's like different now because he has different emotions. But it's actually, it is pretty corny, but it's actually really, really funny.
I kind of like corny, so it's talking to me. Where are you watching that at?
It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, there's about.
It's a Netflix anime.
Oh yeah, but it's about 15 episodes long. It's pretty. It's ecchi though. I mean, Netflix. Netflix back in the day was like, we're never going to do anything rated R anime, and then they started dropping these animes.
They started dropping everything,
and then they started showing all kinds of nonsense. But it's really, really funny. I've also finished. I finished Spy Family. Finished Spy Family. Well. Yeah, pretty good. Super funny, of course. I mean, Spy Family's Spy Family. It's probably one of the few slice of life-ish animes that I can get into.
Yeah, it was so cute. Like the last episode was a wrap up, but it was a good wrap up.
Yeah,
a culmination of what's to come.
Yeah, finished or not finished, but I've been watching Blood Sea. I mean, that's pretty much it. I know a lot of trailers have definitely been dropped for the upcoming anime. Yeah.
So all my manga readers or my manga readers, I know you already heard that Solo Leveling is actually going to be dropping an anime coming out in 2023. I know.
That's good.
I'll calm myself down. 2023 is a whole year away, but when Solo Leveling dropped in the manga community, in the manga community, everyone loved it. Like it's like one of those. It's kind of like an isekai, but it's in his world where no one's able to get stronger. They don't raise their level. They just stay whatever they are. They're either a D class hero, C class, B class, all the way up to S class. Well, something happens to him in the beginning of the story, so that now he has the ability to level up. So it's a story about how the weakest D class person actually makes it all the way up.
So he's broken.
Yeah, he's broken. He's essentially a broken character.
In Target, they actually sell the Solo Leveling mangas. They because I said I don't know if it was last week or the week before. I'm trying to look to like start collecting a lot of mangas, and like maybe that's the bookshelf I add back here is like putting all the mangas up in a row or whatever. But I saw like 2 or 3 Solo Leveling mangas, and I was sitting there bored because my wife was spending all my money, and I like skimmed through it and read through it a little bit, just kind of see what it was. They had like book 1, book 7, and book 20. I don't know. It was weird. It wasn't in order, but it looks pretty good. It's something I definitely want to watch. So.
It definitely has some pretty extreme fights. It has that adventure-ish feel to it, raiding dungeons. So it's hitting most of those witches those little wickets that you love. Yeah. Honestly.
I feel robbed, however, not because of Solo Leveling. I feel robbed. So for those of y'all who don't know, Vinland Saga Season 2 trailer dropped. I am really, really looking forward to Vinland Saga Season 2, especially because it's going to be animated by Mappa. However, the trailer, I did not like the trailer. And the reason why is because, once again, kind of like the new Predator movie that's coming out, that trailer, I felt robbed because a lot of the action in that trailer was from the last season. They used audio from the new season, and then they used like video from the old season, like showing the things that they went through, showing all that nonsense.
They haven't started
There,
production.
there was like, well, no, there was a few new scenes in there when they were older and like right at the end, but there wasn't really anything new about the trailer. It was just like a recap of the last season. I'm like, they're like, oh, official release, Vinland Saga Season 2 trailer just dropped, and then I watch it and it's just fucking scenes from the old season, you know, like.
When are they coming out?
I think it's 2023 as well,
Oh,
January.
2023? Okay.
Yeah, January, February. But I felt robbed. I was just like, motherfucker, I just watched this whole fucking show. I don't need to see it again. Like, and all they did was talk about like, oh, thank God you're alive. All right, let's make sure we create a new life for ourselves. And then the dude's like, let me go find Thorfinn again. You know, like, I'm just like, this isn't a fucking trailer. I could have just watched the last episode.
Those first trailers, because they haven't really started full production. Maybe they made a couple scenes, but they're basically still scenes from the last season, or still scenes of what they're going to look like now. And it's like, I can't even understand what they're saying. What is this? What am I watching?
Yeah, I felt
trailer 2 or 3.
Hopefully, you know, we'll get some of those scenes, because in the scenes that they did show was them like walking or farming or fishing, or, you know, and there was 1 or 2 actual like combat scenes, and they introduced a new antagonist. Who was like, I'm gonna hunt down the son of Thor, or Thorfinn's father.
Oh, Thor.
He said, I'm gonna hunt down his son, and like, so they introduced a new antagonist. Come to find out that, you know, obviously, Thorfinn's uncle was that fucking crazy dude, that big ass dude that carried the log everywhere. But anyways, I mean, it was kind of shitty, but. It is what it is.
Hold out. They'll come through. Like, we already know it's going to be lit.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
They just don't want to spoil too much too soon. They just want to give you a little piece.
Don't come out with a fucking trailer if you're not going to give it a full.
I know you're really looking forward to it, so you're expecting a wow trailer.
Even if it's not, it doesn't have to be a wild trailer. It just has to have scenes from the new season. It doesn't have to be wild. I don't expect wild. I expect new scenes, introduce antagonists, kind of hint at what they look like now, because they showed Thorfinn for like 1 second and he looks a lot older. His hair's pulled back. You know, I was like, oh, he looks fucking dope. You know, like.
So did they not do all of that?
They didn't. No.
They didn't show any new scenes
of them walking and farming.
They didn't introduce the protagonist.
5 seconds. One of them.
And the main
not protagonist.
Antagonist.
No, they didn't. Because all they showed was Thorfinn for like not even like a split second, a hair. He was sitting there with a fucking rake.
Malta. You wanted more.
They was sitting there with a rake farming, and then so the first, it was like a maybe 2-minute trailer. The first minute and 50 seconds was old shit from the last trailer, from the last show. From the last show, that's what it was. And then the last like 10 or 15 seconds was like showing them farming, showing them walking. This one dude going, I'm going to hunt his son. And then they flashed his face, and then they went to something else. Like, that's not a trailer to me. That's not a trailer. No, that's not.
It's a drip.
Yeah, that's a teaser trailer. This was considered a official trailer. No. There's 2 different types of. I don't think you understand. There's 2 different types of trailers.
Trolling.
There's a teaser trailer, and there's a official trailer.
And that was the official.
This was the official, and they gave us a teaser. Yeah, that pissed me off.
Like, we got the teaser of Soul Leveling. Like, it was a whole bunch of still shots. No scenes.
I mean, imagine if they did that shit to One Piece, right? Official trailer, new arc dropping, and then all they showed was like shit from the last like arc, and you'd just be like, "Bitch, what? What the fuck?"
Feel that way. I would understand.
No,
that they just don't want to.
You're too understanding. You know that? You're way too understanding.
It would be hard to understand, and I will have to go through my spells.
Pain and suffering.
But I will make it through. Anyway.
All right, so let's get into some of these freedom loving animes. Let's talk about some of the best, since it is Independence Day Eve. Tomorrow's Independence Day. You know, we're gonna do something super cringy and talk about animes where they're fighting the power. You know what I'm saying?
Why is it cringy? Because
It's
it was my idea.
Yes, absolutely.
If it was his idea,
it actually wasn't. It actually was. I was thinking that when you were texting me that, I was like, Independence Day, it makes sense. Kind of like the Father's Day thing. So, like, okay, so that's super cringy.
Since it's super cringy, let's bring out the cringiest of all of my selections.
One Piece.
One Piece.
Yeah. I already knew.
I already know because it's the best anime and manga out there.
Hey guys, anyway. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and mute, and then I'll walk away from the camera while he talks about One Piece.
We're gonna talk about revolutions and the animes. We got to talk about One Piece. One Piece is about a guy. Let's not even talk about what One Piece is about specifically. Let's be broad. It's about a guy who wants to be the freest man in the world, and what is keeping him from being the freest man in the world and all his friends? The world government. So he has to defeat the world government in order to be the freest. He has to be the pirate king.
So he doesn't just want the One Piece. He doesn't really care.
In order to be the pirate king. To be
all he wants is the One Piece. That's all he wants.
If that was true, then he would skip all the fights. He would skip all the difficult battles.
He's a nice guy.
Just go straight to
the fight. Nice guy.
No, he specifically says, I don't want to cheat. I don't want shortcuts. I want to make it to the end the right way. The right way is defeating the warlords, defeating the emperors, and defeating the world government. That's the right.
He's fighting people that are stronger than him to make sure he's the strongest in the world. That doesn't mean he's fighting the power.
Defeat the world government. He literally says, I have to defeat these people to be the most powerful. Because if I'm the Pyro King and I'm not the most powerful, then they're just going to take me down.
The end game is to beat them, to be the Pirate King, not to be
the freest. And it's literally in the first season, East Blue of One Piece. I want to be the freest in the world.
I don't know.
Freest. It's his true feeling.
I feel like you're reaching for One Piece right now. And
don't worry. I'm gonna show you clips later. I'm gonna show you clips.
Probably
panels. I'm gonna show you anime episodes.
I'm probably not gonna watch it.
All the facts.
I feel like you're reaching.
Click.
All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about Naruto. So Naruto.
I would love to see how you can relate that. So him fight a revolution.
The Great Ninja War, the last Great Ninja War. He was fighting.
Bring up the past. We're talking about current events in Naruto. We can bring up the past, and we can bring up the whole Itachi thing.
What Itachi thing?
With him killing his whole village or his whole family.
The power? That's murder.
But it was about power. Honestly, it was about power. They could have overthrown the Konoha village, but he decided, hey, to keep that from happening, I'm going to stop them. He chose
the government over his family.
I mean, but hey, it's still a revolution. They tried to revolutionize. They failed. Don't get me wrong. They tried.
That's like the cop showing up to your door and being like, "Hey, I need you to kill your wife and kids really quick, so we are safe." Like, anyways, all right. So with that, no more trolling. So I think one of the greatest fight the power animes. Besides, I don't want to talk about Iron Blood Orphans. I'm just going to use that as like a mention, as an honorable mention, only because we've talked about Iron Blood Orphans so many times. Everybody knows that's my favorite anime. That's obviously kids rising up, trying to become free, getting out from, the big foot of the adults and creating their own company, blah, 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 blah. I want to talk about 86 though. A lot of people I see on Facebook, social media, a lot of people trash 86, and I don't know why. I kind of do. The reason why I think they do is because everybody thinks, kind of like I know people who hate isekai animes. They think it's the same. They think it's the same mecha bullshit, right? Same mecha anime.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And that's okay. I mean, that's your opinion, right? But I think 86 is really good because it pulls an emotional string with the action and the violence. If everybody hasn't seen 86 or you haven't watched it because you've seen people trash it, 86 is essentially about different levels or different groups within this like kingdom. So the kingdom has different levels. If you're not silver, it's kind of, and this is going to sound pretty like, that sounds familiar, but if you're not like white haired with blue eyes, you're pretty much trash. You're pretty much garbage. Yeah. That sounds familiar. But if you have brown hair or any other color hair than white, you're pretty much considered lower than scum. You're pretty much considered garbage. And what you do is they put you in the outskirts of this kingdom, and you pretty much have to go on these, like, I forgot what the groups are called, but they're like the army. They're like the army. Imagine if in our society all the underclass people had to join the military, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
They're not allowed in society. They're not allowed around the rich, rich white folks. They're not around like rich people. They have to go out there and they have to fight. Well, they're handlers. So these groups of mech machines that go out and fight these like they're like autonomous machines or like AI machines they're fighting. Their handlers are actually some white-haired people from the military. They're generals. So what they'll do is they'll sit just like we are, sitting in front of monitors with a microphone and headphones, and they'll be battle tracking their unit that's on the ground fighting in the mech suits and call out positions, call in airstrikes. But they come to find out before they get their handler, which is this female who actually is fighting for their rights as citizens. All their handlers before, all they do is like they're reckless. It's like Ender's Game to them. Like they play games with these human beings' lives that are on the field, and they'll be like, "Hey, we need air support," and they'll just be like, "Yeah, I'm not going to give you air support." Like these handlers are making their lives difficult, and it's kind of like I think they said it like you're in battle. The life expectancy of one of those mech pilots is like 20 minutes. Like that's the life expectancy of most mech pilots, and every single time that military starts drowning, they go and find another brown-haired kid and throw him in a mech suit just to fight these. And then you come to find out later down the road, there's like a conspiracy going on with the AIs, with the like AI robots that they're fighting, and so on and so forth. But this one group called 86 ends up getting a handler who's this female who actually thinks of them as human beings. At first, they obviously like blow her off when she's like, "Hey, I want to know your guys' names," right? They have numbers, not names. They have nicknames and numbers, but their normal handlers just call them by their numbers. But she's like, "Hey, I want to know your guys' names," and they're like, "Yeah, fuck off," like, "No, you don't. Stop fucking with us. Like, we know you don't care about us." But then they start forming a relationship, and it kind of just goes through her sitting behind her desk and feeling like watching these people that she's really getting to know, talking to every night. I mean, it's kind of like being in a long distance relationship, and like you look on the screen, and then that person that you were just having the most deep conversation with, you see him die on screen. So I think it really tugs at the heartstrings a lot, where you get really attached to these characters, and these characters attach themselves to each other, and then they go and die. It's kind of like Iron Blood Orphans in the fact where you really love a character, and then they just out of nowhere die, like Biscuit, right? Like out of fucking nowhere, they die, and you really get this anime really draws you in. And I think it's one of the best fight the power animes, because this girl all by herself is trying to fight the government and fight the people that are oppressing these mech pilots. She is the daughter of one of the generals, like one of the top ranking generals, so she kind of has plot armor in a way where she does shit she's not supposed to and gets away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
always that.
Yeah, like she's not allowed to call in air support for them. She's not allowed to like give them resupply drops and shit like that, and she does anyways. She's like, "Fuck you!" Like they need food. So, but
at first they didn't know there were actual humans piloting the fight.
Yeah. So the people of the world, like the rich, white-haired, blue eyes people, not the military, but just the civilians, they thought it was AI versus AI.
Yeah.
The whole time they did not know that there were, because their whole slogan was, they put on billboards, their whole slogan was "zero casualties in the last battle, zero casualties this, zero casualties. Our brand new machine army is taking out and protecting our city. Even though we lost a few machines, there's zero casualties." But they did not know. So she's out there pretty much the last season. The last season is her like exposing that truth to the people, like, hey, these are people that are fighting, because most of the white-haired individuals that aren't in the government or aren't in the military, they don't know about brown-haired people. And most of them, when they do find out about them, they don't care. They don't give a shit that they're brown-haired. They're just like, wait, there's other people besides us, and then so she's trying to expose the government and for the corruptness and like for the sacrificial, like sending these lambs to the slaughter, pretty much. But I think it's really good, like, fighting the power, making, just this one small girl against the world, and the 80s
revolution from within.
Right.
Not even just like a whole group, a separate group. It was from the main group. There was somebody working against them.
Kind of not to get all, weepy, but like all it takes is one person to stand up. within an organization. All it takes is one person. And then she started getting followers, and she started like actually growing a base, and it really started to help out. I need to catch up on I know 86 season 2 came out. I didn't finish the last season. I need to finish it, but I think that's one of the best, like kind of fight the power ish. Is I think everybody should give it a try. Even if people talk shit about it, I think it's really good. It definitely is an emotional, it's a very suspenseful anime. It's one of those like, is he going to die? Is he going to die? Is he going to die? And then you're like, no, he's good. And then he dies, and you're like, fuck, you know? So I think it's
really has to be fucked up over that. I can't be attached to any other anime character that you suggest.
Oh, you didn't even.
The type of animes you watch are darker. I like the lighter. Like I get attached to someone like Biscuit, and then he dies. I don't want to get attached to nothing you suggest.
You didn't even finish.
I know. I think I watched like the first 5-6 episodes, and then I kind of fell off because I was watching all these other animes that just finished. So I gotta finish up that. Need to finish second season of Iron Blooded Orphans. Yeah. I'll get there. Just got a lot on the plate at the moment. But no, I definitely feel that. That's I have to finish it. Just listen to that synopsis of the show and what's to come. It has a pretty solid premise. Yeah. I enjoy it, honestly.
I haven't heard anything about season 3 yet. I didn't see it on our lists for summer and fall anime, but maybe it'll come out. You know, maybe they'll drop a movie, because those type of shows normally drop movies.
Yeah,
they'll drop like a little side movie here, side movie there. But who knows? We'll see. So
yeah, another example of that is what was that? The Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
Same premise. He's within the royal people, the nobility of this kingdom. It's so the whole story is about Japan has been taken over by a world government. We're not gonna put a name on the world government, because honestly, the premise is very telling. But this world government has taken over the world, and they have a colony in Japan. Well, the Japanese people within the colony, they can work to be a part of, become a citizen of the world government, but they have to do certain things to be on a certain level of life. They have to do certain things. They have to call out people who are doing wrongful things in order to be considered a citizen of the world government. Well, in this story, there's someone who was already considered a citizen of the world government, but he was actually using the power that he obtained. I'm not going to get too far into the details of the show, but he obtained a power at some point that allowed him to control the actions of other people. And by using that power, and of course, keeping his cover, he was working with the Revolutionary Army that was fighting the world government actively. Yeah. And keeping the cover of who he really was, he was using that power to ultimately defeat the world government and release Japan from the colonization of the world government. And he actually succeeds in his plan, but at the end of it all, he ends up having to give his life towards the cause. And the reason why I think this is a very special revolution that we need to keep on our list if we haven't seen it, and definitely watch again if we have seen it, especially for celebration of the 4th, because it shows that this guy, just because he was on the right side of the road, doesn't mean he stayed there. He went to the wrong side of the road to make sure that those people were doing good, and helped him achieve the freedoms, the same freedoms that he was receiving from the world government.
I think one of my favorite. So I haven't seen Code Geass in like 15 fucking years. But I will say, I think one of my favorite scenes from that is when, and I remember vividly, I don't know why this scene is stuck in my head, but he's like sitting in a warehouse or standing in a warehouse. That mech pilot comes down, and she's like, "Put your hands up," and he's like, "Okay, I will. Just, I don't know who you are. Just please come out of the cockpit. I'll surrender to you." And she comes out, and he's like, "Yeah." He fucking.
Why would she come out? That was so stupid.
He eyes of heavens her.
Eyes of heaven.
And then and then she immediately becomes entrapped, and I'm like, got it.
Like, I don't really understand. Like, why would she get out of that mech suit? Like, she had him, had the guns on him, and he was like, "Okay, I'll give up. Just come out real quick and let me talk to you." Try to Naruto talk no jutsu to her.
Try to Naruto talk.
And hold on, let me see. Is that the Fire Force jacket behind you?
No. So this is.
I thought it was for a second.
No, I wish. So I've actually looked up. I've looked up like the jackets and stuff, because I know we were planning on going to BlurredCon or whatever. I don't remember, but I was trying to look up like a Fire Force, like a Company 8 jacket or kind of or a shirt or something, to kind of like wear there. But I might just wear this. What's it called? So this is for those of y'all who are on audio, come to YouTube. But this is I wore this last week.
Yeah.
This is Draken's kimono from Tokyo Revengers. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I noticed it last week. I forgot to mention it during the show. We kind of went off on a tangent towards the end. So I do that again.
So I want to bring up one that a lot of people probably haven't seen. It's kind of like an underground anime. So it's called Sabikyu Bisco. So Sabikyu Bisco is about the world where they have it's like mushrooms. It's really weird. So they have this thing called the rust. The rust is a disease that essentially gets on you and it consumes you over time. You can get it anywhere. You see people with blotches on their neck, blotches on their face, and then over time, it completely consumes your body and kills you. Sabikyu Bisco, Bisco is a kid who has the power of the mushroom. However, the government is telling the people of the world that the mushrooms are what causes the rust disease, but it's actually the opposite. The mushrooms are what cures the rust disease. But they are fear mongering these people because the selling, it's kind of like the capitalism and the consumerism of mushrooms is what was flourishing the economy, but the government wants to control that kind of like that resource. So yeah, Sabikyu Bisco, he is pretty much like this mushroom assassin. They call him the mushroom eater. That's pretty much what the show is called in English. The show is called Mushroom Eater. But he has these bow and arrows, pretty much. This bow and arrow and these arrows shoot, and giant mushrooms sprout, destroy buildings, completely destroy the ground. I mean, just fuck up everything. And he's on a wanted poster, kind of like our boy Zorro back there. He's on a wanted poster for being a assassin. He's pretty much, people by the government are telling everybody that he is an assassin. He kills people. He gives them rust. He's a mushroom eater. He's a devil. He's a demon. But really, all he's trying to do is find the right mushroom to cure all the rust in the entire world. Because his mom died of rust, his mentor died of the rust, like so on and so forth. So whenever he comes to town to find a doctor to start doing like their little science shit to like mix up mushrooms, they're always trying to capture him. And a lot of people are afraid of him because they're being fear-mongered into thinking that he is causing the rust, but he's really not. It's actually the government that's causing the rust, trying to whittle the population down. They're trying to control the buying and selling of drugs. Kind of sounds familiar, right? And nope, not at all. But I think it's a good revolutionary one because what ends up happening, and not to spoil too much of it, because it is fairly new. He ends up going to the town to find a doctor because he thinks he's found the right mushroom to cure rust. And he goes and finds his doctor. The doctor has a sister who's a part, like an elite top, like special forces soldier in the government, who is also, kind of brainwashed into thinking he's an assassin. Well, some shit kind of goes down. I'm not going to say what. And the doctor ends up leaving with Bisco on a journey to go find this like elusive golden mushroom that like can literally cure anything on the planet. Because that's his goal. That doctor's goal. This little kid, he's like 15 years old and he's a doctor, but this guy's goal, they call him Panda because he has like a black patch over his eye, like a circle on his face. It's not the rust, but it's weird. Anyways, but his goal is to cure rust because his sister, who is that top elite assassin, has rust on half of her face, her arm, and shit like that. Because she's super physically fit and like powerful, it's kind of slowing it down a little bit. But he pretty much goes on an adventure with him to find this mushroom and to prove the government that they're lying, that they've been lying to the people, and that mushrooms are good for you. Mushrooms help you get rid of the rust that keeps you healthy, so on and so forth. So I can just kind of bring that up as a, kind of like an honorable mention. I think the fighting is really good. I mean, the music, whenever they start fighting, they play like heavy death metal in the background whenever the fighting starts.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And it's pretty fucking lit. I think the people who not animated, but the people who did the audio for Fire Force also did the audio for Sabikyu Bisco, because there's some hints of the same, like whenever fire goes off, whenever explosions happen, like it kind of has the whole like kind of sound to it. And the fighting is, dope. The fighting is pretty dope. It's also really funny. So
I've seen the title. Honestly, I've seen the title, but I've always like I just saw like the clip art for it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in it.
It looks stupid, and I thought the same thing when I saw the cover art for it. It looked really dumb, but then I went back and I actually I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like I sat on the couch one night, fucking pressed play, and I was like, the fighting was off the hook. And then they started playing like when they're fighting and shit. And I'm like, oh, this is.
What's the name of that one again?
So it's Sabiku Bisco, but it's you can also look up Mushroom Eater.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that one. I believe it's like scrolling through. Sites.
It is one of those underground animes. Not too many people actually that I've talked to have heard about it. It's one of those like they dropped it behind the curtain behind all these big titles, and they're like, yeah, wait till people actually get on this shit. You know what I'm saying?
It recently came out too, like last season, I believe, or 2 seasons ago.
Came out last year, late last year. Like
probably like 2 seasons. Like December, probably December.
I haven't heard any news about it. It's only 1 season. I haven't heard any news about a new season. I think they dropped it so behind the curtain that a lot of people haven't like looked it or watched it or viewed it, so they're kind of holding off because they maybe not have the budget for a second season. But if they don't come back with another season, I'll be fucking mad because it's a really good fucking.
Really good. You finished it.
Oh, I finished it.
It must have been good if you actually finished it because you like this.
I actually finished it in like one night because it was the night. So those of you who don't know, I actually have like a kind of a newborn. He's not really newborn anymore. He's 5 months old now. But when I had a newborn, I would help my wife out and I would stay up all night because I can't go to sleep. If I go to sleep, I'm not getting up until it's time for me to go to work. Well, I would let her sleep all night and I would stay up all night and I'd play video games, watch anime, and then I go to work the next day just to help her out throughout the week. I think it was one of those nights that I clicked on at like 9 o'clock at night and I watched the whole thing all the way to the morning.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Episodes 12. Is it 12 episode season?
I think so. It's like 12 to 15 episodes. I mean, nothing crazy. Is
that like 4 hours of watching something? It's a quick watch. I'll definitely catch it. But these new animes coming out, honestly, I don't know when I'm gonna catch it, but it's going on the list. I have a list. I'm going to watch it on the list.
It does help you guys out. We may have brought it up in the past, but it will help you if you get the My Anime List app. Also, My Anime List, if you're watching this, sponsor us if you have money, please, because we talk about you a lot. I don't know if they're like a free thing, but whatever. But it does help you. So on the My Anime List app, if y'all, like I said, we're not sponsored, so I'm just talking about it because I really like it. I had a problem with monitoring all the animes I was watching, what episodes I were on, what I wanted to watch and stuff like that. You go on the app and on the website, you can pretty much make a list of what you are watching, what you've completed watching, what you want to watch, what's up next. I mean, you have this whole list, and then you can go in there and click plus on an episode and add it that you watch that episode, then that episode, then that episode. It also has news for like upcoming anime, what's dropped. It sends me notifications when a new episode comes out, a new season dropped. It really helps me out for those weebs out there that are watching like 1 billion different animes at one time. It helps you like keep up with everything. I was doing probably putting in my notes in my phone and shit. I was
like, Anime List, please sponsor this, man. He talks about y'all so damn much. Please.
I love it. It like no bullshit. It really helped me because I was legit making notes in my phone and like putting Naruto episode 3856 part 2. Like, you know, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to but when I figured this shit out, it was pretty cool. But
I'll tell you. But to just hop back to the list, another like a low key anime. I know you've seen it. It's actually we actually spoke about it before. Kill la Kill.
Oh yeah.
Kill la Kill is another good one. It's honestly like how it begins, and I think you explained it a little bit better. How it begins is about this schoolgirl. She's trying to like find out how her father died, and where she believes she's going to get the most information is by going to like this prestigious school or the military school of the government. So she goes to the military school of the government, but she doesn't do it quite right. Yeah. It's everyone has to go. Like it's a whole bunch of rules too. Yeah. But she doesn't do it quite right. She kind of shows up like, "Yo, I'm me. Fight me now. I want to fight every single one of y'all." She's not like a secret squirrel. She's not like sneaking around trying to get information. No, she shows up day one and she's like, "Send me your strongest people. I want to run the ones." And she run the ones. She dead ass beats everyone's ass, working her way up.
Yeah. Well, she kind of gets her ass beat a little bit in the beginning.
A little bit because she wasn't used to how they fought. She was just a wild.
Because she had this, so like in the show, they have these suits. They're like different star levels. So they have star 1, star 2, 3, and 4 type of suits. And star 5 is a suit that you find out later down the road that they didn't know existed. But then you end up finding out that there is a star 5 suit. But however strong you are in the school depends on what suit you get. And if you get a promotion, you get star suit. These suits have special abilities and special powers that make you stronger, faster, give you like powers or whatever. Well, when she showed up to the school originally, she didn't have a suit.
One at all.
She didn't have a single suit, and she shows up like, you know, like put your mitts up. Y'all about to catch this fade, and then she gets her ass beat, and she's like, "I'll be back," and she gets on the scooter and
she wasn't aware of the fact that they were using suits, but then she ended up finding that special suit. Do you know the name of it?
So I don't remember the name, but it's a suit. So this suit's kind of fucked up if you think about it. But the suits were invented by her father. Her father was the one who invented these suits. He ended up dying because this is kind of like, so I'm gonna kind of ruin it only because like this anime's been out for so long. So if those of y'all who haven't watched it, just
go ahead and ruin it.
Yeah, enjoy the journey, not the destination. So clothes like themselves, t-shirts, pants, they are their own autonomous like aliens. So clothes are aliens. They essentially come down and they're the ones that really run the government of Japan. They're the ones that are in charge, and they're enslaving people by putting clothes on them. It's a weird concept. I know it sounds weird, but these clothed aliens are the ones that came down and essentially clothed human beings, and they enslave you. Like all of us want to buy design, not all of us, but a lot of people want to buy designer. They want to buy, like, that's pretty much the premise of this show, is we're enslaved by our clothing. Well, these suits were designed to defeat the clothing elite. So the elite clothes. And her father is the one that designed these clothes, these like things. And what these clothes do is the star suits, they feed on your, or not the star suits, the special suits that her and her sister have, which we'll get in that in a second, but they feed on her blood. So like it'll get on you and like completely form to your body. And then she pulls this little tab that like cuts her blood, and it feeds the fibers of these suits. Or it's not a star, it's a fiber suit. So like one fiber, two fiber, I don't know. It's a weird little fucking thing. I don't know. But she ends up going to the school, and her sister that she doesn't know is her actual sister is the one that's in charge of the school. And they, you know, they give out these 1-star uniforms, 2-star uniforms, and she has to pretty much fight her way up the level of uniforms to even get to fight her sister. I mean, she's like, you got to go through my goons first before you catch these hands. But then later on down the road, they end up finding out that her older sister ends up finding out that that was her dad too. These clothes are enslaving human beings, and she didn't know any of this. So she ends up like joining her sister. And the little girl's name is Maki, by the way. I just remembered that. But she ends up joining her sister to fight the powers that be, and they end up getting naked and shit. It's pretty ecchi too. I mean, I know you talked about it. Like, it's pretty ecchi. Like whenever she pulls the thing and it cuts her wrist to like feed the suit forms and like pulls her titties up and slaps them down. Like it's
fucking, she was like wearing a uniform where it's like this.
It's like a string thong bikini. Like it's, I don't know, but it's pretty good. It is at first it's not really a fight the power anime until they find out who the power is.
Yeah.
Yes. When she starts realizing, the main character, when she starts realizing that these kids are oppressed by the school government, she does try to fight to free them. And it's another thing where like the higher star suit you get, the more freedom you get. This school literally runs the whole country. They run the town. If you have a 3-star uniform, you get to live in a mansion. 3 stars and above get to live in mansions, have foods made. If you have a 1-star uniform or no uniform, you live in the slums, you live in the hood, you know? And so she's trying to fight for equality for everybody. But at first, all she wanted was smoke, because she was like, y'all niggas kill my dad. Like, I want smoke. Like, that's all I want. And then she ends up getting that scissor sword.
Yeah.
Learns how to use it, tries to find the other half to the scissors to but it's pretty good. It's pretty old though. That show's pretty old.
Is it that old?
Oh yeah.
It's probably maybe 2007 it came out.
I think.
I feel like that's not old. That's not old. Don't say that's old.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's pretty old. I don't know.
It came out 2013, 2014.
Yep, 2013.
Not that old.
It's not that old. It's pretty old.
8-9 years.
Yeah, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's
a really good one.
It's funny too. It's pretty funny. That little.
Well, I like the ecchi elements to it, of course. I wanted to keep it about the political fighting between her actually defeating the government. But yes, it's a ecchi. It's very funny.
Yeah, that girl who's like her friend. that she stays with, that she lives with, her
Oh
family.
yeah.
They be cooking that disgusting ass food, and then like every time she runs to hug her, she like moves out of the way and she hits her face on the floor. It's pretty funny.
Another thing, they're like always like pressed about being on time, and if they're
Yeah,
not on time, it's a lot of things going on. But yes, like you said, by the end of it, they know they have the objective, they have the mission,
yeah,
and they reach that objective. Honestly,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it's really good. Y'all should definitely check it out. So, I think Akame Got Kill is definitely another one too.
yeah,
Only because, and it's weird because so when I first got into Akame Got Kill and Kill la Kill, I thought they were the same fucking thing for some reason because they sound so familiar. But for those of y'all who haven't seen Akame Got Kill, that one's I think it's still on Netflix. But
yeah, I believe so as well.
yeah, so they have the night what is it, the night brigade or night whatever, the night troop, I don't know, but it's a group of assassins that essentially the people of like the kingdom think that these group of assassins are killing just randomly killing people, but really all they're doing is killing corrupt political figures, people who rape people, people who murder people, like corrupt people that they are tasked to kill. So they are, yes, technically assassins, but they're killing bad people. But
Yeah.
the world government is telling them, the empire is telling them that these people are bad and they're evil. I forgot what their powers. What's the power called again that they get that each one of them has? It's like a special power.
I don't remember the special power. I know like the one guy has the armor, which our main character ends up getting the armor that turns him into like the much larger grown man version of himself. But I don't remember the name of the powers. But I know like the group being the night raid, like their main objective is to actually take down this world government or this empire. So they're taking out these persons of interest one by one, but what the world government is doing is telling everyone that, hey, no, they're the bad guys. They're the one. They're trying to disrupt society and whatnot. So eventually, what we find out is this night raid is actually trying to go after the military, and that's when we get to my waifu as Death, where she's like the most powerful general in the military. But as we already know, she ends up falling for our main character, one of the members of the night raid, and she's essentially like, "I want you to betray them for me."
Yeah.
So betray them all so that me and you could be together. And honestly, you probably should have followed her advice because we know how that all ended for the members of the night raid. But yeah, it's another example of anime that has a revolution within anime, because this kid his first objective when it first starts out is stay alive. He's a good fighter. He's a trained sword fighter. He's just a regular person though, in which he meets the night raid while during one of their missions to actually take down, what was it, like not a process. They were kidnapping. I think they were kidnapping children.
Imperial Arms, that's what they're called.
Imperial Arms, yeah, I remember
Imperial Arms, yeah.
So they were kidnapping children. So the night raid actually, their mission was to take down this kidnapping ring, and that's where they end up finding him. But
Katsumi.
Katsumi. They was unsure whether or not he was a part of it, but then they saw that he ended up killing somebody.
Yeah, because that family they were saying they were finding homeless adventurers or like people who were coming into the kingdom to like start their new life, and they're like, "Hey, come live with us, get a meal. We'll give you a bed to sleep in until you get on your feet."
They're pretty fun.
And then it was Tatsumi and his two other friends who they went ahead of him, and he ends up getting captured, finding out that little girl, that like 15-year-old girl, was kidnapping homeless people and torturing them to death. And then Tatsumi ended up finding out. The reason why I actually really loved, the reason that got me into Akame Ga Kill was at first I didn't really think it was like, okay, like I was watching it, it is what it is. But that first episode when Tatsumi saw that his friends and that girl he loved was murdered, was like pretty much being tortured to death and murdered, like Night Raid was there and he ended up fighting Akame. And then he ends up finding out that that little girl was the one that was killing and torturing. He took that sword and he shoved it right in her belly. There was no remorse. No smoke. Please don't. She was like, "No, you wouldn't kill a little girl." And he was like, "Shink." He said, "Bitch." Yeah, like I was like, "Yo, this is one of the main characters that I'm glad he didn't try to talk no jutsu." He's like, "Nah, you catching a fade, like." You killed my best friend. What the fuck you think I'm going to do?
And it wasn't his main objective to take down the world government. But once he got with this group, once they saw that, okay, he's a skilled fighter, let's bring him along. And then he started to understand what they're really about, because they're painted as the bad guys in this world.
And so each one,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, each one of them have what we just said was their imperial arms. They're like unique weapons that you get, and it gives you a special ability. Like my baby boo from that show is Shell. And those of y'all who know, Shell is the one with the glasses, and she has the scissors. She has scissor shit. The way that was her and Biscuit are the two anime deaths that make me want to punch my TV. But that crazy bitch that has that puppy that like bites her arm and gives her like powers and shit. It gives her like, it gives her like a cannon on her arm. It gives her like guns on her arm. It gives her like a sword if she needs it. I don't know, but that's her imperial arms. Each one is an imperial arm. And they pretty much, the Night Raid has it. Everybody in Night Raid has one. And then the special like as Death creates the special Night Raid function, like people that attack or go after Night Raid. Each one of them have one as well. So it's kind of just a constant like, battle between them, and then Akame and her sister. And then, I think each one of them is kind of designed after the other one, and everybody has like a past. They all have like imperial arms that mirror one another. Like Tatsumi has the dragon armor, and the other guy has the other dragon armor from the other group. And then Akame has her Murasame, and her sister has the other.
There's a pair to each of them.
Yeah, there's a pair to each of them. Yeah, so and then your baby boo Esdeath is the only person in like the last 200 years who could have even used her imperial arms. That ice bullshit or whatever. I don't know what that one's called, but the ice one. She have to like drink it or something. She like
I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure she went down to the government has an imperial arms armory, you can call it. And there's like it was like a cup. Or it was like a crystal. It was like a tiny crystal that you had to swallow. And nobody has used it in the last 200 years because every single person who has tried to swallow it to use it, it's burned them from the insides, and then the crystal was the only thing that remained. It pretty much melted them or burned them into ash. And the only way you can use that imperial arms is if you have like the strongest will, you think you're the sexiest, the best, you think you're the best thing since Betty White and sliced bread, right?
So it's called the Tegu, which was the demon's extract, because like you said, due to her ego and immense mental willpower, she was able to withstand the overwhelmingly insanity and obtain its abilities. She was insane. Like we've talked about this before. She was insane. And it's probably why she was able to withstand it driving her insane, because she was already insane.
I think the reason why I thought that scene was cool is because it made so much sense when she went down there. So if you went to that armory and you were like, I don't know which one. If you tried to go for that, you'd be dead. Yeah. But for her, when she went down there, she said, I don't want any of this bullshit. I want that one. I want the strongest motherfucking, imperial arms down here. That's the ego you have to even have that imperial arms. So she went down there and they were like, no, you can't. No, don't drink that. Don't consume that. And she's like, man, fuck you. I'm drinking this. And then she drank it and she's like, like she went Super Saiyan for a little bit. And then she was like, I'm good. I'm straight.
Watch this one again. God, I really love this one. I'm forgetting details now.
I actually put it on every once in a while for like background noise or whatever, kind of like one of those animes, kind of like I've been doing with Fire Force. But yeah, it's on Netflix. I could watch it in anything. It says the guy who watches Cantonese. No,
but I watch it in English sub. It doesn't matter.
Cantonese,
whatever they're saying.
Yeah, what was that meme with Madara when he's in the Shinobi War and his Sharingan's going back and forth? It's like sub watchers or like this, and they're like
sub watchers.
Eyes are going back.
Just trying to.
I think I told you about the when I was on TikTok, and so like anime fight scenes are so much better in sub because when they yell out their powers, they yell it in their they yell it in Japanese, like Bankai, Katenkyo, Karamatsu Shinju. Like that sounds amazing, right?
Exactly.
But I was scrolling on TikTok when I was pooping. And I scrolled to a Naruto and Sasuke fight when they were adults, or not adults, but they were like the last fight they had in the
teenagers.
And they're like getting it. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's get it. And then they get to the point where Naruto is like trying to throw a shit ton of Rasengans on him, and then Sasuke stops and pretty much pulls him in with his like fire, the Amaterasu, and he's like, black flame, and I'm like, nope. And I I swear.
Wow, they be saying stuff like Chidori. They'll say Chidori in dub, and it's like Chidori. But they, in like Japanese, it's Chidori. Like it sounds different. It's like a completely different feeling.
Rasen Shuriken, like Rasengan. It sounds like a high school kid.
How it should sound, honestly. And then you hear it in dub, it's like, oh god, no.
When they say it in dub, it sounds like that high school kid in the hallway that's just like trying to get into a fight, his anime style. He's like, yeah, Rasengan.
Dory.
But the minute I was watching that and he was like, Black Fire, and I'm like, nope, I scroll right past that.
Honestly, I don't like their dub.
It's not. You know what sucks for me, though? I think I told you this. What sucks for me is because, remember, I made my wife watch all of Naruto. All of it. Because she wanted to watch it too as well, but I had to push her past some parts, obviously. But she does not like subs. She's an anime lover, but she doesn't like reading subtitles because she's lazy. I love you if you're listening, but she doesn't listen to this, so it's okay. But
my wife doesn't like to do sub either. She'll do sub if she has to.
I had to watch. I got like halfway through. I got halfway through OG Naruto when he's a kid, and all dub, and I was like, I can't. So whenever fights came up, I immediately put it in sub. I said, you're gonna have to suffer. I don't fucking care. Like I'm watching. So from like halfway through OG Naruto all the way through, Shippuden. Mm-hmm. Every time a fight came on, I switched it to sub
because pretty much every 10 episodes, Shippuden is pretty much fight after fight after
fight. But I had to because I can't stand. Rasengan!
Rasengan!
Lightning Blade!
Flame control!
Like, instead of Lightning Blade...
Amaterasu!
Oh, yeah. Amaterasu, I.
I'm not seeing all your words, you filthy Americans. Stop it. Oh, man.
I actually think that wraps it up for this episode. I mean, I appreciate everybody that's actually watching. That actually listens to our bullshit on a day-to-day. If you did hear the last episode, I apologize for my audio. I did get a new microphone, so I kind of had to figure out some like audio things there. I know you I listened to my headphones and it was just like, yeah, so so
that little loud blare. But honestly, I didn't hear it not one time this episode, so I think I figured it out.
Let's hope I figured it out. We want to bring you guys some really good content, some anime stuff. I want you guys to feel like you're in the conversation with us. So if you can, if you guys are audio listeners, please hop over to YouTube, support our page there. We just started our YouTube a few weeks ago. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, like I said, give us a review. Let us know what you think about our episode, what you think we can do better, stuff like that. And we'll get to those. Maybe ask some questions. Hey, if you have some questions, maybe we'll do one of these days when we get enough questions, we'll do a question Q&A episode. Stuff like that. We should be getting
topic ideas. If you have topic ideas, drop them in the comments. We'll definitely talk about them.
A little news. I will be going up to Virginia for a BlurredCon convention with David. So it's essentially like a black nerd convention, but there's not just black people there. Everybody's there, but it's a nerd convention. So there's going to be anime, DC, Marvel, all kinds of stuff there. So we're going to get some stuff and do another unboxing episode for you guys. So when we get that, be sure to go check out our YouTube. Get ready for that. I think that's next weekend, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be next weekend.
Yeah, upcoming weekend. We're gonna be, buying some stuff, showing you guys what we got from the convention. Maybe we'll do a little blog too, a little videoing, showing everybody what the convention's like. But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everything you do. For those of y'all who listen and watch us, share it, subscribe, like, comment, and peace out.
See you next week.